Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked for this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the London Pen Company. This is the Nona 14 in the Jonathan Brooks Bohemian Twighlight. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens London Fog. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens. This is the Demostones in Sapphire. We have a Visconti Chatterley Luxuries Southwest. We have a Sailor King of Pen Sakura Nagare. We have a Classic Pens LB5 in the Kouseki. We have a Classic Pens LB5 in the Kaen. We have a Sailor King of Pen, and this is the Lucky Charm. We have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. And we have a Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina in Shiny Circles. So I think let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail here. So this is the London Pen Company. This is the newer Nona 14 model from Sean in Ontario in Canada. This is a nine-faceted pen, nine-sided faceted pen. And this also is a matte finish, which you don't normally see on resin pens. I think all of my resin pens have a sort of gloss-like finish to them. But I do think it actually brings out this beautiful Bohemian Twilight from Jonathan Brooks. These colours, the turquoise, the copper, the iron, and you can just see some of that chatoyance there on the turquoise or the teal colour, and likewise on that coppery iron colour as well. It really, really does look good. So this is a nine-sided pen. It does have a rounded section for comfort and a concave section. It has a number 6 size Bock nib. This is a broad nib. It is a cartridge converter pen as well. You cannot post the cap on this. I do have a more detailed review of this pen if you want to go and check it out. But I have to say, I think Sean absolutely knocked this out of the ballpark, because the combination of the nine-sided facet pen and also the matteness and that Jonathan Brooks Bohemian Twilight, that material really sings to me. So I have to say that so far this is probably the most favourite pen that I have from Sean at the London Pen Company. It really, really does look beautiful. So congrats to Sean on this one. It is a great pen. The next pen is an old pen. I had it inked up last week. This is the Visconti Homo Sapiens London Fog. When I started really properly collecting in 2016, when I started binge watching all of the Brian Goulet videos from Goulet Pen Company and Stephen Brown, this was one of several grails that I said to myself, if I'm going to go down this route with pens, with fountain pens more so, I really want this. This is a grail pen for me. And I started in June 2016, and by September, I actually found a UK retailer that had one of these in stock, and I bought it. I was absolutely amazed and in awe with the writing experience on this. It's not to say that all my previous pens, which at the time had been Jinhao's, Waterman, I had both the Hemisphere, I had the Kaen, I had a bunch of other pens as well. It's not to say that they didn't write well. They kind of wrote okay, but this blew me out of the park in terms of the writing experience. The 23 karat soft palladium nib, beautiful. So this is a power vac filler. It's a double reservoir. You've got that quarter of a turn hook safe lock mechanism, a concave section there as well, a number 6 size 23 karat palladium nib. Interestingly enough, Visconti have only ever done number 5 and number 6 size nibs. They have never ventured out into a number 8 size nib. And honestly, some of their Visconti pens, I think, warrant a number 8 size nib. And it would be nice at some point to see Visconti doing a number 8 size nib. So if you are messaging Visconti, let them know if you want a number 8 size nib, because I really think that they should at least try a number 8 size nib. The next pen inked up is again another Visconti. It's the Visconti Homo Sapiens, and it's a Demostones in the Sapphire blue. You do have a Sapphire gemstone there, and you do also have a slightly difference there. You get a Visconti logo on the PowerVac knob. It is a PowerVac. It's a semi-opaque demonstrator, double reservoir, hook safe lock mechanism. It has the newer 14-karat gold nib from Visconti. And I have to say, I am actually quite impressed with this nib. I do think it writes quite nicely. I was a little bit, not concerned necessarily, but dismayed possibly by the new design of the nib. I honestly, although the Visconti like fleur de lis nib pattern is a little bit maybe dated, I think it worked really well for them. So I didn't really see a need for Visconti to try and innovate and change that logo. That said, if you look at Montegrappas, you look at Monteblancas, or Mont Blancs, you will actually see various nib designs or nib patterns. So it is definitely something that other manufacturers do. It's just not something that Visconti normally do. The next pen I have inked up again is another Visconti. It's the Chatterley Luxuries Southwest. It is an exclusive to Chatterley Luxuries. It's in the old speakeasy celluloid, the blue, the red, the black, a little bit of a purple there. Beautiful, beautiful material. Absolutely, I love celluloid, and I absolutely love this celluloid material. Beautiful. Again, it is a PowerVac filler. There is no double reservoir, it's a single reservoir. But you do have the hook safe lock mechanism, concave section as well. And you have, although it's the newer 18-karat gold nib from Visconti, you do have the Visconti fleur de lis there on the nib, which is the pattern that I typically expect to see. This is a really, really nice size in my hand. You'll see there it is number 20 of 28. So it is a very limited edition set of pens there from Chatterley Luxuries and Visconti. But I have to say, I still love that pen a lot. And I honestly would like a few more of these, but I know that they're very limited and they are sold out. The next pen is a pen that is a bittersweet pen for me, and for a number of reasons. I had ordered this pen, and it was a beautiful pen, but I had to wait, I want to say 3-4 months for the pen to arrive, at which point I had lost my job. So I decided to cancel the pen. I then went to the pen show, and luckily I had actually picked up a new job by then, and I saw this pen there, and it was the exact same pen that I'd ordered. So I decided, Kismet, Karma, whatever you want to call it, I decided I would actually go and almost buy the pen back. It was my pen. It was just, it hadn't arrived, and I had received a refund. So I decided, you know what, this really is for me. I do need to buy this pen. So it is a Sailor King pen. Beautiful Macchie Raden. You do have a number 8 size nib there. It's a Sailor King pen nib. I got this in a broad nib. I had a medium, or a couple of medium nibs from Sailor, and I, at the time, just wasn't that enamored with them, so I decided I'd go for a broad on this one. More so recently, I've actually been preferring the mediums, so it kind of swings in roundabouts. I still like the broad, but I typically now, if I were to get another Sailor King of Pen, I would probably go for a medium. And you can see that pattern lines up between the cap and the barrel there, but this really is a beautiful, beautiful material there. And those Raden chips, the petals, are absolutely stunning. Now, what started me down the Sailor King of Pen route was this one, which again I picked up fairly early on. Not as early as my London Fog, though. This I picked up, this was actually at the London Pen Show. I want to say October 2017. I'd need to look at my pen database. Maybe 2018. I picked this up from Sarge, the one-man pen show. This is the Classic Pens LB5 Kouseki. Now, just like Omas Arco or any of the Arco material, whether or not it's in an Omas pen or not, the prices have increased massively. So have the Classic Pens LB5s. I've seen some people selling them for $6,000 recently. Clearly, they're not selling for that amount of money. If anybody is willing to part and pay $6,000 or even $3,000 to $4,000 for a Classic Pens LB5, I kind of feel like they need their head seen to. But there were only 50 made in each colour. It is actually made by Sailor for Classic Pens, and it is the Kouseki LB5. And if I unscrew this, you will also see a Sailor King of Pen nib there as well. So this is a medium nib. It is a cartridge converter. Interestingly enough, though, that when I put it side by side to a regular Sailor King of Pen, it is not only longer by about 0.5 centimetre, but it's also slightly wider as well. So that is, I think, what actually attracted me more to the Classic Pens LB5. So I was glad that I was able to pick this up from Sarge. I also at the same time picked up a Classic Pens LM1, which is about the same size as the King of Pen. And it was in effectively the flame red like I have here. But I couldn't get it in the LB5 in the flame red or what is termed Kaen because Sarge had already had one on his table and he had just sold it over the phone to somebody at the show. So I was probably 10-15 minutes too late. Fast forward to 2021, I think it was. I did manage to pick one up. And this is, again, the Classic Pens LB5 made by Sailor. But this is in what the LM1 is called the Flame Red. But this is actually called the Kaen. Now, I do actually have, and I will show you, the Flame Red in the LM1. And if I try to hold these together, you will see the difference in size. So the Sailor King of Pen in the LB5 is actually a lot larger. Now, if I unscrew the cap there, again, you'll see a King of Pen nib, whereas the LM1 only has a Bok number 6 size nib. This is a cartridge converter. Can you post these caps? Yeah, you can. They, like with most Sailors, they do post quite nicely. The material is actually a diffusion bonded acrylic. And if you don't know what diffusion bonded acrylic means, it's basically very thin sheets of acrylic or plastic, and it is compressed together at the molecular level to fuse together. So it requires a lot of pressure and it will literally fuse it together. So they are very sought after pens. I have seen a number in 2022 going up for sale I've seen a green one, I've seen a red, I've seen a purple one, but they're all asking around $4,000 to $6,000 for the pen, which just seems insane to me. I would not pay that amount of money for a Classic Pens LB5. They literally, at brand new, were only selling for $1,200, I think. So that is a lot of money to pay, not only for a single pen, but for a Classic Pens LB5. The next pen here is again another Sailor, but this is the Pro Gear version of the King of Pen. And this is in the Lucky Charm, and this is a demonstrator version, so you can actually see the converter there. If I unscrew the cap, you will see it has, again, a number 8 size Sailor King of Pen nib. It really is a nice size. It is smaller than a standard King of Pen. You can post the cap if you want to. I'm not a cap poster, as you probably know, but you can post it if you want to. Really lovely Sailor King of Pen. And to be honest, I want to say it was less than the Ebonite version. So, at least what I paid for it. So, it is actually a very, very good price. I think they were selling for around about $750, maybe $800 originally. So I think the Ebonite was selling for around about $800-900 maybe dollars at the time. The next pen here I have is inked up this week is the Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove, and strangely enough, just picking this up, it actually feels and looks like a really thin pen. It's not actually. It is actually a decent sized pen. It's about the size of a Homo Sapiens from Visconti. But it has this beautiful stacked celluloid there. And it's cut vertically, so you can, I say vertically there, you can see it. So it has this lovely chatoyance to it. Now, this was a Goulet exclusive, long sold out. It comes with a celluloid section. Typically, Montegrappas normally have a solid silver section. There are some models that do not. This has a Montegrappa number 8 size nib, and it's got a dove nib on there. Not the regular Montegrappa imprint, but that is a really nice pen. Now, this is a cartridge converter. These are Powervacs. These are cartridge converters, and then these two are pistons. And then the last pen here, inked up, is again another Montegrappa. It's a Bartolomeo Ferracina in shiny circles. The reason why it's called circles, because it goes around the circular circumference of the pen. It is a Bartolomeo Ferracina, so you do actually have a clock there as well, which is solar powered. You have a solid silver section, a number 8 size nib there as well from Montegrappa. And I just love the size of this pen, and I love the weight of the pen. Very, very good length, and nice and weighty as well. Now, both these Montegrappas have single threads, so the pattern always lines up, which is something I do like in a pen. If you've got a pattern that is synonymous between the cap and the body, it should line up, and it should line up every single time. So many pens, including a lot of Arco pens, you have the possibility of 3 cap thread starter points. So you have a 1 in 3 chance of getting that material to line up when you try to put the cap on. So that is just something to bear in mind when you're looking for a pen. If you want the pattern to line up, how many starts does it have on that thread? Now, I have recently seen a pen that has, I think it was 5 starts to the thread. So typically, normally it's 1 or 2 or 3. I think it's normally 1 and 3 are the more common versions. So there you have it. That's my currently ink pens for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen here is a London pen company, Nona 14. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And strangely enough, actually, I was just looking at how many of these Oxford Optic notepads I have left, and I have about a dozen left. I went absolutely berserk in 2017 and 2018. I saw these being sold really cheaply at my local supermarket, and every single week I went to do a food shop, I would buy 4 to 6 of these notepads, and I still have about a dozen left, but I have been getting through these because I use these on my Currently Inked all the time, and also for other things as well. So this is the London Pen Company, and it is the Nona 14 Bohemian Twighlight, and it is a broad, and it's a steel Bock nib. And then the ink in here is a Kaen dash, and it is vibrant green, which to me is not a vibrant green. It's not a dull green. It reminds me of maybe a lighter shade of maybe Diamine Sherwood green. It's actually quite a nice green, I would say. The next pen here inked up is the Visconti Homo Sapiens London Fog. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And as I mentioned, the writing experience, the wetness of this nib just blew me away when I bought this. I had not experienced a nib write like this before, in a pleasant way. This is the Visconti Homo Sapiens London Fog with a fine, and it's a 23 cat palladium nib. And then the ink in here is Pilot Roshizuku, and it is Kouseki. But that is a beautiful blue ink. And I am down to my last bottle. I'm down to about half a bottle of that, and I do need to actually think about buying some more. But I don't write as much with Kouseki as I used to. The next pen is the Visconti Homo Sapiens, and this is a Demostones in Sapphire Blue. We'll do an ink swatch. And the reason why I don't write with that so much is that I have so many blues. And I have also been on a bit of a turquoise kick as well. So for me, I'd have to say that I prefer a more lighter turquoisey blue. So this is the Visconti Homo Sapiens, and it is the Demostones, and it's Sapphire. And it is a medium, and it's the newer 14 cat gold nib from Visconti. The ink in here is quite simply Visconti turquoise, which is fast becoming my favourite turquoise coloured ink. The next pen is the Visconti Chatterley Luxuries Southwest. We'll do an ink swatch here. And this is a beautiful red ink, and I always ink this up with this ink. Although perhaps now with Noodlers changing the name of Apache Sunset to Southwest Sunset, maybe I should put it in the Southwest. Who knows? I don't think the colour would match the colour of the pen though, but yeah, maybe. So this is the Visconti, and it's Chatterley Luxuries Southwest, and it is a medium. And I just want to double check this. This is a 18 karat gold nib from Visconti, and the ink in here is the famous Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. But that is still quite a favourite red of mine. It's a darker red, but it's a red that I do like. Strangely, I typically do not like dark reds. I prefer brighter reds, like Diamine Poppy Red. But for some reason, I really do like that Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. The next pen is the Sailor King of Pen Sakura Nagare. So let's do a ink swatch here. Now, I mentioned earlier this is a broad nib, and I have to say I do like it, although I sort of go between the Sailor Broads and the Sailor Mediums. And I think now at the moment I probably would prefer the Sailor Medium. So this is the Sailor. It's the King of Pen Sakura Nagare. It is a broad, and it is a 21 karat gold nib. The King of Pen nibs are always 21 karat gold. And then the ink in here is KWZ Grapefruit, which is a beautiful ink. Maybe it doesn't match the colour of that pen a lot, but I do like it. The next pen is the Classic Pens LB5 in the Kouseki. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And I have to say, again, this is a really, really beautiful writing nib. It is a medium nib. And this is the Classic Pens LB5 Kouseki, and it is a medium, and it is a 21 karat gold nib there. And the ink in here is Diamine Ochre. Now, I used to put Pilot Washizuku Sakushi in there, but I have actually switched to Diamine Ochre, and I have to say I am liking that quite a lot. The next pen is another Classic Pens LB5, and this is in the Kaen. So we'll do another ink swatch here. And again, this is a medium nib, but I do like these medium nibs from Sailor. The medium nibs, because it's an Asian nib, it typically writes a little bit more like a Western fine, or certainly a medium to fine. So this is the Classic Pens LB5 in the Kaen. And again, this is a medium 21 karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red, which is a beautiful red ink, and an ink that I do like a lot. Now, what you will see is there's quite a bit of a difference between these two here in terms of the colour. Now, Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red does go on a little bit lighter, and then it dries a little bit darker, so you might see a little bit of a difference as that starts to dry. The next pen is a Sailor King of Pen, and this is the Pro Gear in the Lucky Charm. So we'll do another ink swatch. Now, this is an ink that I haven't inked up, I believe, in this pen before, but I thought I would give it a try. And you might see a little bit of a difference between how this writes and another pen writes. So this is the Sailor King of Pen. It's the Pro Gear in the Lucky Charm. And it is a medium 21 cat gold nib. And the ink in here is the same as the first one here. It is Kaen Dash. And it is vibrant green. But you can probably see the difference already, that this one here being a broad nib, it's actually a lot lighter. This is what I see it like in a lot of nibs. It's a much, much darker green, almost like I'd say maybe a slightly lighter Diamine Sherwood green. I'd also actually like to see Sailor do a lot more of these Pro Gear Lucky Charms, but having it in different coloured acrylic, like a purple or a red would be very nice as well. The next pen is the Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. So we'll do another ink swatch here. And I do like this nib. It does write quite wet as well. So this is the Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. And it is a medium and it is an 18 cat gold nib. And the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey, which for me is still my favourite grey ink. I do have a few other grey inks that are certainly coming up and might actually almost steal that top slot, but not quite yet. And then the last pen here is the Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina in Shiny Circles. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And again, a nice wet writing nib. I also find that Diamine Earl Grey is actually a nice flowing grey ink. I think the reason why I like it is not only is it a darker grey ink, but it's not like a graphite colour grey, but it also flows well, whereas a lot of grey inks for me do not flow very well. So this is the Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina, and it's Shiny Circles. It is a medium and it is an 18 cat gold nib. And again, the ink in here is a Diamine Earl Grey, which again, I just love how this ink writes in most of my pens. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. So we have a London Pen Company Nona 14 in a Bohemian Twighlight in a broad steel nib, inked up with Kaen Dash Vibrant Green. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens London Fog in a fine 23 cat palladium nib, inked up with Pilot Washizuku Kouseki. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens Demostones Sapphire in a medium 14 cat gold nib, inked up with Visconti Turquoise. We have a Visconti Chatterley Luxuries Southwest in a medium 18 cat gold nib, inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Sailor King of Pen Sakura Nagare in a broad 21 cat gold nib, inked up with KWZ Grapefruit. We have a Classic Pens LB5, and this is in the Kouseki in a medium 21 cat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Ochre. We have a Classic Pens LB5 Kaen in a medium 21 cat gold nib, inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Sailor King of Pen Pro Gear Lucky Charm in a medium 21 karat gold nib inked up with Caran d'Ache vibrant green, and you can see the two differences there between these greens. We have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey, and we have a Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina in shiny circles in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. So there you have it, that's my currently inked pens for this week. Thanks for watching, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.